What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today I want to talk about a Holiday Cup team with you guys, and specifically a Pokemon I haven't seen anybody talking about, and that is Tangrowth. Now, there's a lot of fire types and a lot of ice types running around in the Holiday Cup, and nobody is really talking about Tangrowth having coverage for both of them in having Rock Slide. Rock Slide is a fantastic move that allows Tangrowth to one-shot Talonflame as well as hit any ice types for massive damage. Obviously, if they're the water and ice type variables like Dewgong and Lapras, you can go for Power Whip and hit a lot harder, but in some cases you are still better off just going for 2 Rock Slides, because for some Pokemon 1 Power Whip won't KO, but 2 Rock Slides will, so you might as well save some energy there. What this means for Tangrowth is that it's a fantastic safe swap in this meta, and an underrated one at that, because you swap in a Tangrowth, people are going to bring in their grass counters like Talonflame, like Frostlass, and you're going to be able to take them out with a Rock Slide, and you're going to force shields or take them out. Now, I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday event so far. I've had quite a bit of luck myself. I've managed to find a trade for a Glaceon shiny with the costume, with that cute little cape on. I know Glaceon's not the best shiny around, but still it's a very nice collector's item to have that special limited time shiny. I've had a couple of Sandshrews, Cubchoo, Delibird. I think the only thing I still need from this event is actually Kyurem. I still haven't had luck in the raids there. I've done quite a few, but just not getting lucky there just yet. But let me know how you guys are getting on with the event, and let's take a look at today's team. So as we've said, we're going to be using Tangler as a safe swap on this team thanks to that Rock Slide coverage. And you might be thinking, well, that's not a very PvP oriented Tangrowth. You do want low attack, high defense and HP to get more bulk out of it, but I do not have any low attack, high defense HP Tanglers. I got a bunch of the shinies over a few of the events, but no one that are actually good for PvP. But if you've got one that is PvP oriented, you want to use it. I don't recommend using a Shadow because you need all the bulk you can get, and the Rock Slide will one-shot its targets pretty much regardless if it's something that is weak to it like Frostlass or Talonflame. Speaking of Talonflame, that's what we're going to be running as the lead on this team. Thanks to Tangrowth's versatile coverage, it's perfect as a safe swap to help deal with those, you know, the Stunfisk, Solo and Gravelers, Lanturns that might be trying to swap in to your Talonflame, and if you catch them on the lead, you've got double grass in the back because we're also running Venusaur as our closer, and hopefully we bait out their strongest grass counter and then Venusaur can sweep in the back. Now, enough about talking about the team, let's see it in action. Okay, first lead up, Altaria, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, Altaria is a pretty rough lead for this team. We're running Talonflame double grass. Surely Altaria is going to sweep us, but I'll make you a deal. If I can beat this Altaria and show you guys how to handle it, then you got to subscribe. This could be rigged, no pressure, but also no baxes. Let's go. Alright, so first off, we're going to stay in with Talonflame. Now they're going to build up and they're probably going to throw a Sky Attack before you get a Brave Bird off, and that's fine. If they do, you don't have to shield it. We let the Sky Attack go through and we're just going to throw the Brave Bird straight away. If they let this through, you're in a much better position than if they shield it. If they shield it, we're going to swap to Tangrowth. Now, a good chance on a lot of teams, especially once you've got a shield advantage, is they're not going to really know how to handle a Tangrowth other than staying in with Altaria. So this Altaria is going to stay in. We're going to get a shield with the Rock Slide. They're going to throw a Sky Attack and we're going to go for another Rock Slide. And we should get it before they get to a third Sky Attack, because Tangrowth is pretty fast at that Rock Slide spam. It's not going to one-shot Altaria because Altaria is very, very bulky. And we're going to shield up since they're committing to stay in. We know we can outpace them. And now they're going to swap out to Vigoroth. And we're going to attempt to catch a Body Slam on Talonflame, since at this point Talonflame is pretty much dead to us. It's not got enough health to really do much apart from just absorb that Body Slam damage. Now, at this point, we're going to make a slight mistake. We're bringing Tangrowth, which is completely fine, but we're going to go for the Power Whip. And realistically, we should actually go for double Rock Slide, because as you can see, the Power Whip does not quite KO. But if we'd have thrown the Rock Slide, we would have probably just gotten 2 Rock Slides off before they farmed us down and taken them out. Because the Venusaur doesn't need a massive energy advantage. It will outpace the Altaria to get to a Frenzy Plant to knock it out because it is pretty low. And this opponent now has a Graveler in the back. They attempt to catch a Frenzy Plant on the Altaria to help their Graveler get ahead on energy, but we know that the Altaria is energy dry, so we can get a few more Vine Whips in to ensure that we can get to 2 Frenzy Plants, one for the Altaria, one for the Graveler, take them out and take the win. And despite that mistake of throwing a Power Whip at the Vigoroth rather than 2 Rock Slides, we're still able to take that win. Don't get me wrong, Altaria lead is very tough, but it can be handled with the right moves. Alright, next lead speaks for itself. Frostlass, fantastic lead for Talonflame. Those Incinerates do massive super effective damage, and this opponent's going to swap out to a Vigoroth safe swap, which is pretty okay for us. We're happy to bring in Venusaur here, since Venusaur is resisting the counters and you can comfortably survive 1 Body Slam. It means that we can build up a bunch of energy, and then maybe we should have thrown that first Frenzy Plant before they got to that 2nd Body Slam, just to put pressure on the shields. But also, we're not too upset with that. We still get to control switch advantage. We go down a shield, but the Venusaur has a lot of energy, and Venusaur with energy is threatening to most things in this meta. The Frenzy Plant hits like an absolute truck. This is going to do massive damage to Frostlass. If they let it through, they don't. We get that shield back, which is nice. We're going to just get to another Frenzy Plant before they're able to farm us down, and this is fantastic. It doesn't quite KO the Frostlass, but this means we don't have to worry about shielding the Talonflame, because even if this is a Shadow Ball, it will do big damage, but it won't take us out, and we can still farm them down. So we get the Incinerate through, take them out, and they've got a Unova Stunfisk in the back. And this is a done game. We can just bring in Tangrowth, absolutely wall this thing, and just take them out. There's nothing they can do, and this opponent is going to surrender. GG. And again, another good thing about this team is that you've got 2 good answers to Vigoroth in Venusaur and Talonflame. Now, next matchup, Lantern lead. Again, the awful lead. You want to see your grasses against this thing. So we safe swap Talonflame, and we actually bait out an Obstagoon here. And I believe in this matchup, we go for double Rock Slide, because once again, Obstagoon is one of those Pokemon that can survive a Power Whip, but 2 Rock Slides will take it out. So we definitely want to be going for that. The Obstagoon will outpace you to these charge moves, since they only need 5 counters and you need 6 Vine Whips to get a Rock Slide off. And we decided this isn't worth the shield. We were 1 Vine Whip away. This Obstagoon gets the boost, which is absolutely horrendous for us. We're not able to sneak an Incinerate in when they throw, so this is really looking bad. And we're just going to have to hope that Venusaur can absolutely sweep this back line. I believe we're going to stall this energy, yep, swap out to Venusaur against the Lantern and see what they want to do. And this Lantern is staying in, which means they've probably got something that's weak to grass or poison in the back. My money is on a Charmer, since Charmers struggle with Talonflame. Lantern's a very hard wall to Talonflame. So I'm assuming there's a Charmer in the back, which we've got energy on Talonflame to deal with. We use a shield. It's actually a Low and Graveler, but we've got so much energy built up now against this Lantern. We can just spam these Frenzy Plants. This is actually a Rock Throw Graveler, which is slightly worse for us because there's a little bit more fast move pressure, but also able to get both shields here. And I believe this is worth the shield. We should make it to 1 more Frenzy Plant here and take them out. Yeah, it should be fine. We might have been a little bit sketchy if they would have actually got to move and taken us out. The Brave Bird might have done enough to finish them off, but it would have been quite close. GG. So as you can see, even when we lose lead and lose swap, baiting out the only thing they've got to handle a grass with can often just give you that win condition. Now, a Low and Graveler, again, awful lead, and we're going to swap to Tangrowth. And this opponent's got an Altaria in the back, which again, seems like pretty bad news. We do not like to see Altaria in the back. We're going to throw a Rock Slide, we get a shield out of him, and we're just going to keep going for these Rock Slides. Little does this opponent know, Tangrowth is actually one of our best answers to Altaria on the team, but it's not too bad for us. It's worth shielding up the Sky Attack to either get more shields with the Rock Slides or do big damage to them. As you can see, Altaria is incredibly bulky, can take a Rock Slide, but we're so spammy we're going to get to another, force that second shield or take them out. And we've put quite a bit of work in here on this Altaria. We do get farmed down. We're going to bring in Talonflame because we can survive a Sky Attack comfortably. And we know that Talonflame's still kind of stuck against the Low and Graveler, so that's not too bad for us. We're just going to let this second Sky Attack go through, absorb all this energy, and once again, hope that Venusaur can sweep. This opponent actually swaps a Low and Graveler in aggressively, and this puts us in a slightly stronger position because we can build up more energy to have enough to take out that Altaria pretty quickly, because despite it being pretty low, Venusaur cannot Vine Whip down. It's double resisted, it is not going to do enough. But throw a Frenzy Plant, finish off the Graveler before they get to a charge move. They've got a Wigglytuff in the back, so we can Sludge Bomb this. This should one-shot, bang, not quite. This is going to be scary. Can we Vine Whip down and then throw a Frenzy Plant? We just get it. We've got the Frenzy Plant. Is this going to be enough to take out the Altaria and give us the win? It's going to be close. This is very resistant. It's not. It survives with 1 HP and Dragon Breaths us down. We didn't quite have the Sludge Bomb energy either. Otherwise, we could have thrown that and taken them out, but we were 1 Vine Whip short and we didn't have the health to get that last bit of energy in. Super close game. GG. Alright, match 3, another Alolan Graveler. We're going to swap into Tangrowth again, see what the opponent does. We're going to swap into an Alolan Ninetales, and this is, if it's a Charm Alolan Ninetales, you're in a slightly better position because there's a little bit less pressure from those spammy Weather Balls, but we're able to put some good work in here, getting 2 Rock Slides off before they decide to throw a Weather Ball. The opponent underestimating just how fast Tangrowth can be. We're going to let this go through now since we've got 2 shields out of the opponent, and now we can bring in Talonflame, get some nice energy advantage, and then see if Venusaur can once again sweep for us. I don't know if this is worth, yeah, I'd say it's worth letting go because we're just very close to getting that Incinerate off, not that Incinerate, sorry, the Flame Charge, just to finish off this Ninetales. Hang on to the 2 shields for the Venusaur and see what it can do. The opponent brings in the Graveler naturally to try and finish off the Talonflame, and now they're staying in. They're going to throw energy. This is worth a shield. It's a Stone Edge, fantastic shield. Wouldn't have mattered. Even if it was a Rock Blast, it would still probably be worth a shield. And now they're swapping Frostlass, obviously hoping that it can get to 2 Avalanches fast enough to take us out. But you see how hard that Frenzy Plant hits. Absolutely smashes Frostlass to pieces. We're going to be able to farm down, get to a Frenzy Plant and take them out. So the opponent surrenders, and that's going to give us a 4-1 in our first set despite losing 4 of the leads. And that just goes to show how good of a safe swap Tangrowth is. It doesn't matter if you lose lead, it doesn't really matter if you lose switch advantage. Tangrowth can put pressure on most Pokemon to get that shield advantage or just bait out that strong grass counter, and then Venusaur can sweep in the back. Lapras lead, again, a bit of a tough one because the surf damage is so threatening to Talonflame, the Ice Shard is neutral to Talonflame and also super effective against our Grass Boys, so it is a little bit scary. We're going to swap straight into Tangrowth and go for a Power Whip. They shield and swap out to their own Venusaur, and what we can do here is we build up a little bit excess there because we know that Venusaur has to throw a Sludge Bomb, which is 7 Vine Whips, so we decide to throw 7 Vine Whips before we throw the Rock Slide because Tangrowth wins CMP tie against Venusaur in the Great League, or at least ours does, because it is a very, very high attack weighted Tangrowth. Now, we're going to come in with Talonflame and farm down. We're going to eat a Sludge Bomb, which isn't too bad. It's not as bad as eating a Surf. And we're going to swap straight to Venusaur because that Lapras left with energy. We're assuming it was going to come in and throw a Surf straight away, which we catch on Venusaur. We don't have to shield. That's great for us. We've still got a 2 shield advantage here. We're going to swap out to a Sableye, and having a shield advantage against Sableye is absolutely fantastic. We're going to throw a little bit badly timed and actually CMP tie with a Foul Play, but still with shield advantage this still puts a lot of pressure onto the Sableye because if they let it through, which they do, bang, we can farm down, and now we've got monstrous energy to help deal with this Lapras. We're going to throw the Frenzy Plant, and we are at risk of getting farmed down here with Ice Shard, but also the Lapras has no shields, our Talonflame has energy. We're going to swap, and if you saw what we did there, we actually reached the Frenzy Plant on Venusaur, but also an Ice Shard was on its way through, and we wouldn't have been able to throw it before the Ice Shard damage registered and took out Venusaur. So we swapped to Talonflame to shift the Ice Shard damage over there, pressure them to throw, potentially get our Brave Bird off. If they'd have actually been able to throw their 2 back-to-back Surfs there and take out the Talonflame, Venusaur would still have had that Frenzy Plant loaded, would have been able to throw it and still would have taken the win. So GG. Alright, Agent Magikarp is bringing the Lantern lead again, awful for us. We're going to swap to Tangrowth and start building up that energy. The opponent's going to bring in a Frostlass, and what this opponent might not realise is that Tangrowth gets to Rock Slide at the same speed that Frostlass gets to Avalanche, which means we're ahead on energy. So we will get to 3 Rock Slides before they get to 3 Avalanches. So if we commit into the 2 shields each, we will win switch advantage here. Now, I don't think a Rock Slide quite one-shots a Frostlass from full health, but once it's had this many Vine Whips, it's definitely going to KO. So we're going to be able to take out this Frostlass and take switch advantage which is absolutely fantastic because then we can get Venusaur against the Lantern and keep Talonflame away from that hard wall, and that's absolutely fantastic for us. The opponent comes in with an Alolan Ninetales and farms us down, and normally this would be quite scary, but it's not here, it doesn't matter too much to us. We're expecting them to swap out after this Weather Ball into Lantern, and they do, which is why we don't throw straight away, we actually throw another Incinerate, because it doesn't matter if the Lantern gets ahead on energy, it can't take us out with one shot. And what we're actually going to do here is build up extra energy and build up and have enough so we can make it to a Sludge Bomb against the Ninetales as well, to force them to throw and guarantee that we can get that energy off on the Talonflame at minimum and take them out. But we win CMP tie anyway, we get the Sludge Bomb off, this is going to one shot, and we take that win. Now, if we'd have thrown the Flame Charge into the Lantern, if we'd have thrown straight away and lost that energy and then brought in Venusaur, we might have been in a bit of a scarier position. We still should have been able to do the storing a Sludge Bomb, but also it would have been a little bit sketchier for sure. Up next, we've got a Trevenant lead, and once again, that's a fantastic lead for Talonflame, and they're actually going to swap in a Deden, but either way, Venusaur makes a very good hard answer to a Deden, since it's resisting the electric moves, it's resisting the fairy moves if it did happen to build up and throw a Play Rough. So Venusaur has nothing to worry about with this thing, absolutely shuts it down, and now we can just go for some Frenzy Plant spam. You might as well go for Frenzy Plant because I believe both moves are resisted and neither of them one shot but both of them two shot a Trevenant, so it puts a little bit more pressure on them to shield potentially, as we can get there a little bit quicker. We do get a shield out of them and they're going for a very aggressive Shadow Claw down, which is kind of scary, but also Talonflame can survive one Shadow Ball and then a few Shadow Claws. It's worth shielding the Shadow Ball, I believe, just to make them throw extra energy here. We get that Incinerate through when they throw, so we're not going to shield. Shadow Ball comes through, smashes us to pieces, but also we've got some energy stored and we're going to swap to Tangrowth straight away. And there's an argument to make here, we should have just thrown the Flame Charge straight away, because we're in a bit of a risky situation here because Ninetales outpaces Tangrowth, so they can get excess energy here and have energy ready to throw at Talonflame. Now we should win CMP tie, so we should be in a good position, and you see we tap the Brave Bird, it doesn't throw the move and we overtap, it throws an Incinerate and they can just take us out because Incinerate's such a slow move. And you can see here that we tap the Brave Bird the second the button appears, and then we go to tap the Flame Charge because we're worried it's not actually going to throw the move. And because there's one tap in between those, for some reason it decides to throw the Incinerate and it costs us the game. I don't like to blame things on the game not working properly. I know it's a little bit busted and I know that lag's still a severe problem in GBL, but stuff like that, it can be quite frustrating. Good game to the opponent though. Right, Vigoroth lead. This is a pretty decent lead for Talonflame. It's not the best because oftentimes it's hard to tell what they're going to have in the back with a versatile lead like Vigoroth, but we know we've got an answer for it in the back. We go straight for the Brave Bird, and I like to go straight for Brave Bird against Vigoroth leads because then you swap straight to Venusaur to clear that debuff, and it means that they probably have to swap out and you can line them up with Talonflame again later on in the game. So it's one of the exceptions where I will use Venusaur as a safe swap, but we land the Brave Bird, it takes them out, so it doesn't actually matter. And now they've got Graveler against Venusaur, really. We've got two shields, they've got two shields, but it's not going to matter. The Vine Whips are going to do so much damage that they're just not going to be able to handle us here. We might try and catch a move on the Talonflame just in case that they bait us twice. If they bait us twice with Rock Blast and then make it to Stone Edge, it might do enough damage, but we catch on the Talonflame. It's quite easy to predict when a Graveler's going to throw because of Volt Switch being such a slow, fast move, and we farm down and we take the win. GG. If an Alolan Graveler does come in to try and farm down your Talonflame after you win lead, I do recommend you swap out to Tangrowth regardless, just because you have two grasses and you don't want that Graveler to get ahead on energy too far. Alright, last matchup, and this is a Drifblim lead, and I think this is a good lead because it keeps it away from your grass types. Tangrowth can do okay against Drifblim. The Icy Wind doesn't one-shot you, you're threatening them quite heavily with the massive Rock Slide damage, but it means that you're definitely keeping it away from Venusaur because Venusaur just can't really do much to a Drifblim. So I think it's worth sticking in this matchup playing it out and seeing what they've got in the back, and hopefully they're going to be weak to grass in the back. We're going to see what they're going to throw now. Is this worth a shield? This could be a Shadow Ball. It's another Icy Wind, so it's worth the shield. I'm kind of surprised that they went for double Icy Wind, just because we would have survived that Icy Wind if we didn't shield, and also we were going to outpace them to that last Flame Charge to take them out. Now they come in with a Lantern, and we're going to swap straight to Tangrowth, and they've got a Litleo, a Fire Fang Litleo. This is kind of nuts for someone to have. I haven't really seen many people running Litleo, but I suppose double Fire is a viable strategy that can make use of this. But because shields are down, Litleo can't take 2 Rock Slides. It's going to take it out, and then we've still got Venusaur to deal with that Lantern and absolutely wall it off, so we're going to take the win. If the Litleo had energy there, which it might have done and would have thrown, we might have just been able to finish it off with the Talonflame anyway, and then we still would have walled the Lantern with Venusaur anyway. I think this opponent has actually quit out of the game. They stopped tapping, but it was a done game. Once we got that second charge move off on the Litleo, they must have closed the app in a bit of a rage, but either way, GG to them. So 2 4-1 sets there, thanks to Tangrowth really being a solid pivot point against all those bad leads that we've had in these 2 sets. So let me know down below what you guys think of Tangrowth in the Holiday Cup. If you've enjoyed the video, consider liking down below. If you're not already subscribed, why not hit that button? It's free. If you're already subscribed, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time.